what an experience. So the WNBF, right, is the fourth show. We're gonna wrap this one up because this vlog is gonna encompass, or has encompassed, the IFBB Nationals and the WNBF. And if I didn't wrap up the Nationals, I do apologize, the IFBB. I will cover it off quickly, which was that, you know, we managed to pull it back. I stopped working with the coach that was helping me out, Cliff Wilson. It was the toughest time in between the IFBB state show and nationals, so I decided, I reached out again, I take full ownership, and I was like, hey dude, like, just wondering if you know, you have any advice. This is what I've been doing, X, Y, and Z. And he said, look, I think I can help, get your glutes in, all this sort of stuff. And so I was like, yep, you know what, dude, let's do it. Like, here's all the information, I'm throwing you in at the deep end. And then I was really shocked at the approach. So we were pretty much almost like a keto approach, so high fat, low carb. Felt like shit. Training went down the toilet. Was, I mean, you don't poo much in comp prep anyway, but was hardly pooing. And changed all my foods up, and I did sort of question this, and I was like, hey, look, based on my experience, I don't think that's the best thing. But he's like, look, let's do it. I'm like, okay, got to trust the process, because I can't say something doesn't work until I wholeheartedly do it. But in terms of logic and education, it didn't seem like it was going to work. Sure enough, 2 weeks went past. I was struggling so much. I didn't have a massive step count or anything, but I was just, my training went to shit. I had no energy. The fat was still too high. So we were doing skin folds. We weren't actually losing body fat. We were just losing weight from glycogen and water. So performance tanked, which actually meant I moved less. So therefore I was probably not in a bigger calorie deficit. I couldn't even pose. I couldn't even tense properly. So I wasn't even practicing my posing as much as I wanted to. And obviously voiced this, and, you know, we stayed the course, and you know, Cliff was confident in this approach, but lo and behold, it didn't work. It was also very complicated. So you would see in some of these clips and videos, like the amount of meals that I was having to make and the food combinations. And then I think the nail in the coffin was the 1,000 carb refeed day, which sounds great, but when you're doing it with potatoes and then 19 scoops of Powerade and then Cheerios and all these foods that just are high fiber, yes, sure, they've got the potassium in them, but that exists anyway if you're having fruits and vegetables, or you know, we were eating those foods up to that day. That was the whole philosophy, to try and pull in the carbs. It didn't make sense. And sure enough, I spilled over for the IFBB, and in the morning we looked shit, worse than the state show where me and Crystal were taking the reins. So we pretty much had next to no food. We were just walking around, standing in the sun, dosing sodium and caffeine to try and pull water out of the cell because we were so spilled over. And yeah, it was just a shit show. So I didn't place in classic physique, even though I went to novice, not true novice. It was a little bit more stiffer competition. Plus, it was all of the best athletes from Australia now, not just the state championships. And then we managed to, because we had quite a few hours, to pull it back, and I finished second in bodybuilding again to Jake, who won. Congratulations to him. But I think if I would have been undeniable, or if we would have carried on doing what we were doing in the fat loss phase, I would have been a lot leaner. So yeah, it's been tough, really tough. So I said, look, to Cliff, look, thanks, but I appreciate it, but I think I'm going to take it from here. I really need to trust in my own ability. You know, my clients are shredded. I understand what it takes. I don't want to do any of this gimmicky things. You know, I was just doing like green veg, like tablespoons of olive oil. I had to convert everything to pounds as well into mils, and then I had to convert gallons, and it was just all these things. And when you're in prep, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it was a lot, and it was just so frustrating, and it was adding so much more stress. So I'm grateful for the experience. There's no bad blood. I'm grateful for the time. But it kind of confirmed to me that even the best coaches in the world who are getting amazing results can sometimes have a really cookie cutter approach, and they're actually maybe getting results and really fucking people over rather than getting results more intelligently and actually getting better results. But again, there's a lot of variances there, and I'm going to unpack this more when I've got a full brain, because I'm still recovering. My body's at a point now where it's like really hit the wall. We've got one competition left. Anyway, we had a week to rein it in for the WNBF, which we did. It was a hard push again, because I had to claw back for the second time the progress that was lost from following another coach's advice, which again, I know I wholeheartedly put my hands up, I did, but thinking that it would get me further ahead with their experience, but no, it just seems that they're just not on the ball with the current science, with the literature, and still doing things that are really like bro-y or gimmicky. So again, I went back to all my normal foods. I'm not necessarily cutting out artificial sweeteners, but I'm not abusing them. I'm having all the foods that I normally eat. I started pooing again, looking better, performance came back, got leaner on more calories because I was moving more so I could create a bigger energy deficit, and looked the best we ever looked on the day. And turned up, and you guys can have a look at the footage. I will let you decide what you think. We definitely had the best look we had, but again, we'd be further ahead if we just carried on with simple protocols or again, just keeping things simple. And yeah, we got second and third. And to be quite frank, I think it was close, but I definitely think I had a first in me. There was a lot of politics in this show, which there usually is, and it surprises me how I've placed better in the unnatural federations than the natural federations, which kind of proves which proves to me it's such a shame, but that there is such a bearing from, it's not even, you can present the best package, but oftentimes it's who you are and who you know that can really help you, which, is true in life, but it is a shame. So either way, that was what it was. It was a bit frustrating, I'll be honest with you, but again, people have got eyes. I brought my best package. It was close. I definitely think it was a first in there somewhere, especially me ticking all the boxes. Like if we're thinking about true bodybuilding, symmetry, conditioning, size, presentation. But hey, met some awesome athletes, had an awesome day. It was a great experience anyway. Got to meet Eric Helms, who I've followed for a long time and learned off, and it was cool to meet him and actually like go on the stage with him and face off, and he won in the open category, and congratulations for him for getting his pro card. And then Jeremy, my client, awesome stuff, like absolutely smashed it this season, like for his first time, completely shredded. We reversed him into this show. Conditioning, he was the leanest one there of anyone. He came second in Masters. He didn't place in Open, but again, if you look at the WNBF show, first time did it in Australia. All I'm going to say is look at the demographic, and unfortunately, it's geared towards a different demographic, and they have an interest from a financial standpoint to serve that demographic. So although the competition was tough, and there were some great physiques there were definitely decisions made that were compromised by the financial backing, the alignment, and what they were going to pick. And you're always going to get this in shows. And this is why I think, and I'll review this again in the big recap, but I think IFBB for me for future is going to be the way to go, and possibly this last show with WBFF in terms of what my physique fits, the criteria, and getting judged more fairly based on what we believe to be true of physique sports, which is symmetry, conditioning, presentation, muscularity, all these things. So yeah, I know it's a bit disjointed, guys. Stay with me. Apologies, because again, I'm still recovering. I'm hanging on. But we are reversing out this week into this next show because we don't need to be as lean. So we can hold a little bit more fullness. I can train harder and actually bring a better package again, because obviously we've kind of recovered from the last week as well in terms of going back to basics, getting food up, pulling fat down. So we've got, fat's not super high anymore, like it's still moderate to low, but we can offset that with having more carbohydrates for fuel, keeping protein consistent, and then train harder, get the steps in, create that energy deficit, but also now just slowly refilling, while maintaining body fat level. So yeah, really, really, really interesting from that standpoint, the WNBF show. But again, I'm going to do a full breakdown on this after the show, because I really want to get into some weeds and some details. I'm going to be doing a lot more YouTube, guys. I'm going to get a proper camera, editing. We're going to really get this shit going. And I've got some exciting news for you all as well in many respects. So I appreciate you all if you're still here and listening. Thank you for sticking around. That is kind of the last two shows wrapped up. I'll leave it at that. You guys would have seen all the footage floating back in two. The last show I'm going to do like a different vlog on, which is going to be amazing. WBFF, World Beauty, Fashion, Fitness. Just literally over here, I can see the casino. So it's going to be great not having to drive up to Brisbane, having a really professionally ran show, and again, bringing my absolute best. So looking forward to it, team. And yeah, really, really can't wait to share the success with you all and really dive in. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. If you like the video, like, subscribe for more. There's a lot more going to be coming. I know I've said that before, but honestly, there is. And yeah, I appreciate you. Love to all. Stay fearless, and we'll chat soon.